What's up, everybody? It's your boy Nick Clark here with another Breaking Bad boxing preview and prediction. We are now going to cover Nick the Wrecking Ball versus Sam the Ghost Goodman. I personally have never heard anyone call him that, but I looked up his nickname and that's what I come to find out. So here we go. Nick Ball, 22 wins, 0 losses, 1 draw. 13 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Sam Goodman, 20 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws, 8 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Nick Ball, he's a scouser from Liverpool, orthodox fighter, but he does punch himself into other stances at times, I have to say. I think that's from bad feet placement, quite frankly, and maybe bad punching mechanics, but neither here nor there. Who am I to judge, quite frankly? I'm just a fight fan. And then you have Sam Goodman here, also an orthodox fighter, fights off that long jab here, and he's coming from Australia. So let's get into a little bit of tape breakdown, y'all. I'm really looking forward to this fight. I'm a really big Nick Ball fan, so let me just put my bias aside. Let me put on my fight binoculars, and let's get right into it. Start off with Sam Goodman here, broke down a bunch of his fights here. Goodman versus Zhong Liu. Great range fighter, Goodman is. Knows what he's good at, which I really appreciate. Has really good pull and counter to his game. He has comfortable ring control. He can feint. He can jab. He can move. He controls the real estate. Really good at controlling the real estate offensively. Has a great 2 to the body. I think a really underrated 2 to the body, straight to the body. At long range, he's super solid. Offensively, he has really good feet too as well. Defensively, he has decent feet. He can laterally move, good ring generalship. He's a slick fighter. I think he thinks he's a little bit more slick than he is. He's no Finito Lopez, but he's definitely a slick fighter. And he has really good cardio and he keeps his shape. Now, in this fight, he was definitely susceptible to the right hands. He was moving back quite frankly, quite often in a straight line with his chin high up in the air. No guard, fights with an open guard, and he really relies on his pull and his dip and his reflexes. He had no side-to-side head movement or upper body movement whatsoever. His head movement is something that is, quite frankly, a lot to be desired. Doesn't have great inside boxing, and he freezes his feet. He gets stuck on the inside, and I think, again, he thinks he's a little more slick than he is. Versus the Mark Schliebs fight. First of all, Mark Schliebs came into that fight 2 pounds underweight compared to Sam Goodman, and 2 of his last 3 fights before that, he got smoked via knockout. Got smoked by Brock Jarvis in the 5th round, and then smoked in the 1st round by Rocky Ogden. So really he had no business being in there. Every time I look at fights, I'm always looking for fight over fight improvement. So with the Mark Schliebs fight, I felt like Sam Goodman was great at cutting off the ring. He showed a little bit of different wrinkles to his game with hand fighting. He was pawing with the glove, pawing with the backhand too as well. Better arsenal in this fight. A little bit more slip uppercuts and some decent hooks too as well in this fight, which I don't think we saw specifically against Zhong Liu and Riydah Elise, where he really just kept it to straights in that fight. In the 2nd round, he let his hands go, got lackluster, and got caught with a hook and a straight. You cannot get lackluster while letting your hands go against a guy like Nick Ball, because he did it against a guy in Mark Schliebs who was, again, undersized, doesn't have the same pop, and again, should not have been in the ring that night. Just was completely outclassed and outmatched. I really love Sam Goodman's work rate. He has a high work rate, bell-to-bell work rate. He wings shots and he leaves himself open when he does wing these shots. Again, leaves a lot to be desired defensively in that sense. He fights in odds and evens. What do I mean by odds and evens? He goes 1st and 3rd, or he goes 2nd and 4th. Odds and evens. So if you ever hear me on this channel when I say odds and evens, that's what I mean. This fighter fights 1st and 3rd or 2nd and 4th. He's not a huge puncher, and I mean, that may be an understatement. I don't know if he can punch his way out of a paper bag. So I know that sounds discrediting, but he really can't punch. This was a ref stoppage, and he never dropped Schliebs once, and that was very concerning against this guy. So in the next fight, Tachana, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this Thai fighter's name. Chinoy Warawat is what they call him, Chinoy Warawat. I thought Sam Goodman did a great job at punching down this fight. Not only punching straight, but punching down. He showed great jab variation, both high, low, low, high. I found this funny, which you're also going to find in the next fight. In the 2nd round, he got hurt at 1 minute and 38 seconds. Again, 1 minute and 38 seconds in the 2nd round with a shuffle uppercut and a straight right. He was exiting in a straight line like we mentioned in his last fight. And I'll tell you why in the next fight, that's funny. His punch selection was really good. He fought with a more reasonable shell and guard in this fight. Not so open, a little bit more tight, which I truly appreciated. He was fighting he had moments of fighting well off the back foot, but I don't think he can fight off the back foot sustainably for 12 rounds. He's far better when he goes forward and his lateral movement. In the 9th round, his inside game looked really bad. He ate 6 uppercuts in a row by this guy. Later in the fight, he definitely dips his head over his feet. Now, all right, y'all. And sorry that I'm not using my notepad today. So, what was funny about him getting hurt in the second round at 1 minute and 38 seconds by the shovel uppercut and the straight right by Warwatt is when he got hurt in the second round when he was letting his hands go against Schliebs. It was at 1 minute and 38 seconds too in the second round. So, I just thought that was kind of funny. At 1 minute and 38 seconds of each fight, he got hurt in both of those. So, moving on to the Cesar Baca fight. If you want to find this fight, by the way, and you can't find it on YouTube, you can go to dailymotion.com. This is where I found the fight, on dailymotion.com. Had to cut through a few ads, but once you got past a few ads, you were good to go. Baca landed some sharp shots to the body on Sam Goodman here. Fight over fight, I didn't really see much improvement from Sam Goodman. We saw a lot of good lateral movement, good 1-2 down the pipe. Threw the check hook a little bit more in variation than we saw in his previous last few fights. Really good 2 to the body, like I said, and he was looking really good on the front foot. But Baca was really green in this fight, and I feel like he exposed Sam Goodman's defense when it came to getting punched with combinations. He was getting his head bopped left and right. That's a big thing with Sam Goodman. He's gotten his head bopped by these 122-pounders in Mark Schliebs, Zong Lu, and Baca multiple times in these fights. So him moving up to 126 against a bigger bully weight guy like Nick Ball, that could be something to bring issue with. Baca was also robbed of a knockdown in the 8th round, where he clearly knocked down Sam Goodman. But the fact that it was in Australia, New Limit Boxing putting on the promotion, which is Sam Goodman's promoter, I can understand maybe that the ref didn't give it to him, but Baca should at least got that knockdown. And quite frankly, I scored that fight for Baca. I had him up 6-4 with the knockdown. I'm surprised when I read the scorecards were unanimous for Sam Goodman. So on to Sam Goodman's positives and on Sam Goodman's negatives. Sam Goodman, great front foot fighter, good shape and good cardio. He has a great pull counter, and he can dip too as well. Had a little bit of dip to his game. He can laterally move, solid punch selection. He can cut the ring off. He's long range when he comes to fighting. He can fight really well at that long range. He's relatively slicked, more so in the mix aspect, because, again, I think he thinks he's more slick than he is. He's no Finito Lopez, like I said. And he keeps his shape in all 12 rounds, which I appreciate that he keeps his shape. So it means he's well-conditioned and well-schooled when it comes to the cardio aspect. His negatives: exits in the straight lines. He's stationary on his upper body, especially with his head movement, very stationary. Doesn't have a great punch arsenal, and if he does, he doesn't show this punch arsenal. Doesn't have a great guard, very hittable. He holds his feet. Doesn't have an inside game whatsoever. He can box on the back foot in moments, but I don't think he can sustain back foot boxing. And the biggest issue, I don't think he can punch, man. Not really much of a puncher at all. I feel like he's not popping any of his opponent's heads back. It's the vice versa. He's getting his head popped back. And I know he had some weight cutting issues at 122, and he definitely outgrew the weight. But man, when it comes to the aspect of who's going to be the bigger puncher in the Nick Ball fight, it's not even going to be a question who's going to be the bigger puncher. All right, y'all. Let's get into our boy Nick the Wrecking Ball's tape. Nick Ball versus Raymond Ford. And this is going to be a smaller tape study, just due to the fact that Nick Ball, I hate to say, I think he's kind of a polished product. I think he's kind of at his ceiling of where he's going to be. And I don't know if we see too many fight over fight wrinkles, at least from what I've seen from the tape. Nick Ball versus Ray Ford. Physical as hell. Strong, tight guard. He has a sick step-off uppercut. I love his step-off uppercut. It looks good, and it hits the mark, quite frankly, a lot. It gets right through that guard. He throws punches and bunches, relentless pace and pressure. Absolutely relentless. He's a dog. He's a gamer. He plays a lot of yo-yo. You go, I go, you go, I go. Yo-yo. He makes you fight his fight almost every single time due to that pace and that pressure. He has a really good inside game and an incredible work rate. We have these fighters both have incredible work rates. He was decent at keeping Ford against the ropes in this fight, even though some of that had to do with Ford's mental lapses in defense to where he just kept himself there. But when he kept Ford on the ropes, especially rounds 2 through 6, and in the end of round 9, I believe, that's where he won those rounds, was keeping him on the ropes and throwing punches and bunches, especially in the last 20 to 25 seconds of those rounds, really capitalizing on those rounds for him. He has bruising power. Ford's face was busted up after this fight. He has an incredible tendency to fight emotionally, which is not a good thing. Shoving, shoulder shrugging, pushing. We're going to see that kind of be a habit in his fights. He loses balances over his hips when he's exiting, over his back hip. And then when he's throwing, he loses balances because he throws himself off guard. He throws himself off his back foot and switches stances almost to where he has to reset, and he puts himself square. So he can offensively make himself reset multiple times from throwing too hard and overcommitting to his shots. And he catches himself square multiple times. He can't fight long, at least not in the forward fight, due to his physical limitations. He's listed as 5'2", and I wouldn't doubt if that's not too far off from being accurate. Ronnie Rios. I found this fight on Boxing Archive's YouTube, so shout out to Boxing Archive and their YouTube. Ronnie Rios shouldn't have been in this fight, man. This is another one of those fights where they really was fighting someone that should not have been in there. At least he was higher level than Mark Schleves. In the first round, really the first through third rounds, Nick Ball was utilizing his jab. Incredible corkscrew shots from both hands. That one kicked my ass. He also threw some really good corkscrew shots versus Raymond Ford. He worked on his long-range weapons in this fight. You can definitely tell, at least for the first few rounds, he was trying to utilize it in the game plan. He was catching and shooting, definitely versus a slower fighter in Ronnie Rios, but he was definitely catching and shooting in this fight. He was breaking Rios's guards every time he was punching in bunches. When he dropped Ronnie Rios, it was with a step-off left uppercut and a straight right, and he committed to that 3 different times. And instead of throwing the step-off uppercut on the 4th time, he threw a step-off hook. And it definitely it was a change-up tendency. So Nick Ball definitely has some change-up tendencies that can throw his opponents off. He definitely fought, again, a less skilled and a more washed Ronnie Rios at the time, but he let Ronnie Rios land on him, which I found a little bit interesting and kind of worrying. He was susceptible to the body shots from Ronnie Rios, again, leaning over his feet when he was retracting. He pushed Ronnie Rios in round 7, so I didn't consider that a knockdown whatsoever. He had incredible killer instinct when he had Ronnie Rios hurt, though. In the 3rd round, he was rushing him like a pit bull in the 3rd round, may have had to give himself the 4th round to kind of breathe and retract for how much he was punching. But when he had Ronnie Rios hurt in the 10th, it was hellacious, the beating he was putting on punching through that guard. Again, it was a little worrying that he let Ronnie Rios last for 10 rounds, but when he had him hurt really bad. The Ball versus Doheny fight. I didn't really, again, see too many fight-over-fight improvements in this fight. I felt he was a little bit more patient in the earlier fights. He attempted to fight behind his jab in the earlier rounds that we saw against Ronnie Rios. He had issues tracking Doheny early, but again, he made it his fight in the later rounds and essentially started forcing Doheny to hold his feet and fight with him. He started becoming more well-versed in corralling Doheny, especially after the 5th round on. Fought extremely emotionally. He kicked Doheny after the 1st round, and then he also pushed him in the 9th, getting a point deducted for him. Another issue with letting Doheny last around till the 9th round, or it may have been the 10th that he got the point deduction for him. One thing I do love about Nick Ball is even though he's 5'2", he fights at different levels. He'll change his levels. He'll dip, a little bit of dip to his chip, and he fights high. He fights at different levels, making your punch selection have to be far more accurate. And let's see. And he's honestly, this was honestly, you know, these last 2 performances weren't anything to write home about for due to who he was fighting, but he went out there and handled business. So positives for Nick Ball. Pressure, pace, aggression for all 12 rounds. He won't stop. Punches and bunches. Great killer instinct. He's a bully. He's mean. He's strong as hell. He's very physical. Great corkscrew shots. His step-off uppercut, incredible. He breaks his opponents down. Great, incredible, dirty boxing. His inside uppercuts, punch and variation from the body all the way to the head, which I appreciate. Work rate, and he ends rounds very strong. His negatives, he has leaky defense and he has a leaky nose. He gets his nose busted in every single fight, which I think could be an issue, possibly with someone as sharp as a jab as Sam Goodman has, because he does have a very sharp jab. Fights emotionally. He's super susceptible to the body shot, especially for how small he is. He has balance issues where he retracts over his back hip and he throws and loses balances when he's throwing at times. And he overcommits shots that can lose him his balance and get him overturned and overcommitted against the fight. And you saw with Raymond Ford was definitely making him pay for these overcommitments in the later rounds as he was turning him and popping him. So how do I see this fight going? Y'all? So the issues I have with Sam Goodman and the issues I have with Nick Ball is Nick Ball, I think at some point, especially in the early rounds, is going to have issues dealing with Sam Goodman because Sam Goodman is going to kind of meet him in the middle. It's going to be bull on bull kind of fighting where Sam Goodman is going to be trying to pull and counter from Nick Ball, make him overcommit, make him overmiss. And when he misses, he's going to try to sharpshoot him. Now, the thing about Sam Goodman is I don't think he can punch, and I don't think he gives the same respect as even someone like Ronnie Rios may have make Nick Ball have the respect to keep you off you for 12 rounds. I think if Sam Goodman invests to the body early, he can make this fight possibly interesting. But if I'm being honest with you, man, I think Sam Goodman's susceptibility to being hit with right hands, I think his susceptibility to exiting in a straight line, and I think he's going to have moments where he's going to plant his feet and try to fight with Nick Ball. And I think Nick Ball is going to make him pay. Him moving up to 126 pounds, he's getting his head popped back by guys that are much smaller than he is and that don't have anywhere near the same pop that Nick Ball has. I got Nick Ball by rounds 9 through 12, late round stoppage. I could see this fight going to decision, and it seems to be the Twitter plant your flag fight of the week. Shout out to Tim from Narco Cop MMA. That's what he loves to say, the Twitter plant your flag fight of the week. A lot of people seem to strongly be leaning Sam Goodman. And I like Sam Goodman. I think he's a skilled boxer, but I think Nick Ball gets the job done here. I think he finishes Sam Goodman too as well. If Sam Goodman and him went to decision, would I be surprised? No. If Sam Goodman won this fight, I would be surprised. Another caveat to put into this fight too as well is Sam Goodman was busted up in the Vaca fight and the Warat fight, and then he got hurt in sparring. The same eye, I'm assuming, got busted open. So he has scar tissue around his left eye, and Nick Ball busts fighters up. All of these fighters, Doheny, Ronnie Rios, Raymond Ford, Ray Vargas, all looked like shit after fighting Nick Ball. Nick Ball didn't take it easy on him at any moment. It's going to be a good work rate versus work rate fight. But honestly, I have Nick Ball taking it. I think the pressure is going to drown Sam Goodman. I think the weight's going to drown Sam Goodman eventually. And the one thing is Nick Ball is going to punches and bunches. And Sam Goodman does get hit, but I don't think he's fought anyone near as relentless or tenacious as a Nick Ball. Give me Nick Ball. Wouldn't be surprised if it goes to decision, but I like him by finish. I'm going to take Nick Ball plus 175 odds, rounds 7 through 12. I love that. Love, peace, chicken grease. It's your boy Nick Clark here with Breaking Bad Boxing.